Will they pay the money? Will they pay the money? Will Savannah, her brother Cameron, and her sister Annie pay the money to the author of this ransom note that seems to be taken very seriously? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the note and why I personally believe seems very, very legitimate. Very legitimate. I'll tell you why. And we'll also take a look at the timeline of what happened in those 41 minutes as Nancy Guthrie is being abducted from her home. I'm Vinny Politan, lead anchor for Court TV. Thank you for joining us here, along with Albert H. Wunsch III, Esquire.
Hola, Tangenistas.
Indeed. Also with us, the radio legend Jonesy.
Greetings from Asbury, no parking, New Jersey.
All right, and you are watching, ladies and gentlemen, the Tangent True Crime Podcast.
It's Vinny and the Tangent True Crime Podcast. Vinny has the blue eyes, out cracks the jokes. Jonesy stays behind his shades, entertaining all the folks. It's Vinny and the Tangent True Crime Podcast. Load up all your comments, hit those super chats. Let's go smash that like button so we can all have a blast. Vinny, Alan, Jonesy on the job. They're the Sugar Hill Gang of true crime. They're telling stories of days gone by. They take crime and turn into a good old time. It's Vinny and the Tangent True Crime Podcast.
It's your Friday soundtrack. Welcome to the Tangent True Crime Podcast. This story, and I've said it on the air a couple times, the first time I'm covering a story, a true crime mystery where there is absolute tragedy and horror and everything else along with it. And I know the people involved. Like, I know Savannah Guthrie. She worked at Court TV. And to see what she is going through and to see her in that Instagram video with her sister and her brother, this is brutal. This is brutal. And I don't know how it's going to turn out. I don't know what the ending is here because a lot of it is mysterious. But as we sit here getting into this weekend, I believe I'm more on the side that this is a legitimate ransom note than not on that side. They arrested someone already for a bogus one, for a bogus request for Bitcoin, but not in this case. They have not said that it's bogus. They have not said either way on it. But you watch the videos. Savannah did a video. Her brother did a video. We'll take a look at those as well. Everything from my perspective is pointing to this is a legitimate note.
I disagree.
Oh.
I don't think it's a legitimate note. I mean, there's too many things in that don't ring true to me. The fact that no one has reached out and demonstrated proof of life. This is an individual who was smart enough to be able to disable a ring cam, and there's nothing else going forward other than an email going to TMZ and a reporter, and nothing else following it up. Nothing showing proof of life. Nothing showing anything other than the fact that there was a reference to two items that might have been that in the household. And those are the details that they're focusing on. But I mean, I've studied the Lindbergh kidnapping and the number of phony ransom notes that came out in that were just unreal. I mean, we're talking about like hundreds of notes coming in.
This is 2026, though, Al. This is a lot different.
Well, I know, but what I'm saying is that, but it was also a lot more difficult to send something back in 1930s. Okay, it had to be and go to a post office, put a stamp on it, and mail it. Okay, so it's a little bit different than what we can do
Yeah, but you didn't have to worry about getting caught.
Well,
like you would have to know what you're doing to not have to be traced.
But
right? They're not going to trace you back in the 1700s or wherever that was.
It's the 1930s. But I mean, Bitcoin is the most traceable of items. Absolutely the most traceable of items. And that's why I'm suspicious of the letter. Because if the guy is this smart, okay, and is able to do all this, then he would definitely know that Bitcoin is probably the most traceable type of monetary enumeration that you can find out there. So I mean, I'm hoping that it is legit. I just am not. But you know what? On the other end of the food chain, I also find it very odd that you would have, okay, well, we'll give you the Thursday at 5:00, and then if you don't get Thursday at 5:00, then by Monday, this is what's going to happen.
Right.
That's just very weird to me. Also, I've never seen it. I've never seen a ransom note that gave you contingencies.
Yeah,
that's the other odd thing about that note.
I don't know what to believe on it because I don't think we have enough information about it myself. But it does. History does show that when somebody of affluence, somebody with money, is involved in a situation like this, people crawl out of the woodwork and try to take advantage of that situation.
So what I want to do right now, because there were three letters that there's three versions, three copies of the letter, the email. TMZ got one. My company got one, not Core TV, but our parent company. We have a local station in Tucson and another local station in Tucson. Harvey Levin from TMZ has provided the most information about the letter. So I'm going to put it up because he talked to Sean Hannity on Fox, and in that interview gave the most information that he's ever given about what's in that letter, with a little bit of Harvey's analysis. He's a lawyer. Let's take a listen. He's not a doctor.
I kind of need to back this up to Tuesday when we received what looked like a ransom letter, and so we called the sheriff's department in Pima, and they took the information. There was something in that letter that caught my eye at the end, where they mention both. Now I can say it because the FBI said it: an Apple Watch and a damaged floodlight. What I found interesting, because we knew she wore an Apple Watch. There are pictures of her with Savannah with that watch, but they mentioned where the watch was, the placement of the watch in the house. And that's not something that was out there. So I had a long talk with the sheriff's department. A couple hours later, the FBI called, and they wanted a lot of information. So,
okay. So specifically knowing where the Apple Watch is in the house, the letter's given to the sheriff, and then the FBI, boom, is talking to him. And for hours, they're going back and forth with TMZ. The FBI went all in on this letter. All in on this letter. There was a second bogus letter that they quickly dismissed and arrested a guy out of California. That's why I believe this letter is legit. Part of the reason, as we hear more of what Harvey says, it convinces me even more. But Jonesy, what do you think of that info?
That's yes. I mean, if they knew where the watch was and stuff like that, that implies that it could be for real. But I don't know, man. It's just it's a crazy situation, and you can't put a price on your mommy. But by the same token, you don't want to see any wrongdoers benefiting from this situation without the safe return of your mommy.
I still don't.
Am I still with you?
Yeah, you're still
Yeah.
here.
You know, the Apple Watch, you could see it on a wrist in a bunch of the pictures that they were showing. Okay, that,
Right.
historically that has always been there. Where it was in there, I mean, if you're telling me that if it was, in the bathtub or some odd place like that, maybe, but on the table by the door, I mean, that's not telling me anything. Or you can even say it's on the
Where's
table.
my Apple Watch? Where's my Apple Watch right now, Al?
It's on a table by the door.
No, I don't have one. Boom.
On your wrist?
False letter by Al.
But the thing is this.
Yeah, but
is
as far as the Apple Watch is concerned, there are pictures of her with Savannah with the watch that he just said. So the placement of it is more important than the actual watch.
Right. And they're giving a specific location inside the home of where the watch is, and the FBI still wants to talk to them.
just so you know, that the FBI initially never got involved in kidnappings when they were first put together. But in 1932, they started, and that was in response to what happened with regards to the Lindbergh kidnapping case.
Yeah.
So that's when the FBI started to get involved in kidnappings, 1932.
Let's take a look.
Speaking of kidnappings,
Yeah.
oh, I thought we were going to take a look. Okay, speaking of kidnappings, a friend of mine brought up something the other day, which I thought was kind of interesting. He said that it reminds him of the kidnapping of the son of Frank Sinatra. In that, I wasn't old enough to remember it. I know it as a part of history, but a celebrity, the relative of a celebrity, being taken in such grandiose fashion. I'm sure the headlines as they are now are filled with the Sinatra story.
Yeah, but the Sinatra's son was a performer and was somebody who was in the public spotlight. I mean,
Right.
as opposed to, the mother of a celebrity, okay, who came on a couple of shows and, and things along those lines. She was not a real public person per se. Whereas, Sinatra Jr. was a performer. He was performing in clubs. He had a band. He was out there, in the world, and was a public person. So it's a little bit different.
Well, yeah, but in both cases, you can assume that the reason the victims were targeted was because of the celebrity connection, family connection, which generally means money.
Money. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's continue to watch some more of what Harvey says, because there's a lot of interesting information here.
And I said there are two deadlines. Yes, there is one that changes the demand, and that's the one that has already passed. And the one on Monday is far more consequential.
Okay, so this gets to the Thursday, Monday. Thursday, if we don't get the money by Thursday, then the demand goes up. So they're probably asking for more money. Monday, the demand isn't met. That's likely where the threat is that this whole thing is over. You won't see your mother ever again, and we're moving on.
Okay. And the fact that you have no proof of life, other than the comment, she's okay, but she's scared. I mean, could you possibly be more vague? That doesn't make any sense to me. You're not going to be putting money out there, a ransom or anything, unless you have some sort of proof of life.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
So let's deal with that for a second, because there's going to be more information from Harvey here. But this is where you are put. And I'll give you a preview of what Harvey said. That letter said. That letter specifically said there will be no more communication. So this whole thing about, trying to get the dialogue going back and forth. No, the original demand, the original plan of the author of that letter was, this is it. There will be nothing else. Here's the Bitcoin wallet. Put the money in the Bitcoin wallet, and this will end.
How convenient that the conversation stops. How
Right,
convenient.
but you said, yeah, but this is the plan. The plan wasn't for an ongoing
But there's a plan.
negotiation. No, but this is the plan. So now it's your mother. And now preview more of what Harvey Levin said. He said what they wrote in the letter was that your mother knows what the demand is. Okay? So now the psychological warfare has begun. I'm telling you, your mother knows we're asking for X amount of dollars, and then we'll set her free. If she's never set free, her mother dies knowing that her children didn't pay the money to set her free. That's the game that they're playing right now.
Okay,
Or
so then
he's
why
playing,
wouldn't
or
you
she's
put her?
playing.
Why wouldn't you put her on the screen and say, listen, why? That's all they want is money. Please pay the money. I mean, why wouldn't
So
you
I have a
put
theory.
her on as opposed to, we
It doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter. What do you
her.
do? What do you do if that's your mother? Are you going to sit there and
I want proof of
roll the
life.
dice?
I want proof of life.
So I have
You're not
a
paying
theory.
a dime?
I have a theory about the lack of.
Let me say that they didn't ask for proof of life in the Lindbergh kidnapping, and the kid was dead. The kid had already been dead. Okay, and they still paid the ransom.
Right.
And-
That's what I expect you to do. That's what I would expect you to do. If there's any chance to bring my mother back or my baby back, I'm paying the money. Period. Like, what's the downside is you don't have the money. Like, that's why this is torture for the family. Obviously, they want to start the lines of communication. They want proof of life, but they're not going to get it. They're not going to get it because at this point, if the author had written, this is it, there's nothing else, no more communication, and then starts communicating, that's a sign of weakness.
So what happens what happens now? Okay, if Saturday I say, well, here's the money. No
You put it
good.
in the wallet. Yeah. What?
It's no good because the deadline was Thursday.
No. Thursday, the amount of money goes up. Monday is when that's the information that Harvey has given us now from this letter. Some more of the specifics. The first deadline was I don't know, I have no idea what the number is because they haven't released it. But say the number is 4 million on, and again, I'm making this up out of the blue, is 4 million by Thursday. You don't give me by Thursday, then it's 8 million, right? So that's what the first deadline was. It was just a monetary deadline. Monday is the real deadline. And what do you do this weekend? Will they pay the money? Like, if there's not any communication, it's not coming back, FBI, Pima County, nobody can track this person down. There's no leads. There's no hope. Do you just pay the money and pray? Or do you not pay the money? And then what do you do?
You don't pay the money unless you have proof of life. I would just bring one other kidnapping.
Really? Wait. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. Just don't pay the money?
Because the bottom line
There's no
is
chance.
Look, the fact is this. They found blood, from this poor lady. She doesn't have her medication, She's sickly, If she doesn't get this medication, she is not going to be living. She must have almost had a heart attack when this whole thing went through. The amount of trauma that this woman has gone through has been considerable. And this is a woman in her 80s, an octogenarian that is going through this, bleeding, no medication, nothing. What are your odds, that she's sitting there going, they only want $20 million? Oh, I'm worth that. There's no way in hell that's happening. There is something wrong with this note. There is something wrong with this kidnapping. There's something that does not work for me on this, I want to just talk about one thing, J. Paul Getty's grandson had been kidnapped. This happened in the 70s. And they had demand, I believe it was $17 million for the return of the grandson. And now this is the richest man in the world at this point in time, J. Paul Getty. And his quote was, if I pay 1 penny now, I'll have 14 kidnapped grandchildren. So he refused to pay any money for the return of his grandson. All right. That was his position. I'm not saying that's a position I would have taken, but I'm just telling you that in the situation with regards to something where you're going to be asking for money, I need proof. I don't need a little aside in the letter that she's nervous, she's upset, she's concerned, she's been told. I mean, what? That's BS. Show me. I mean, even in like they're near the border of Mexico. So there's always been some thought in my mind that she may be in Mexico. Okay,
Yeah.
may have been brought across the border because they're certainly close enough. And this could have been something to do with the Mexican, cartels or something along those lines that do this. I mean, you see this happen all the time over there. So it's conceivable.
Sure.
But they would show a picture with her with a newspaper showing today's date. Okay, that there would be some sort of proof that this person is still there. I am not going to trust an aside in a letter that my mom is still alive. Not going to trust that.
So
Okay,
you're gonna
and the comments that were made by the son, okay, were similar to that. We want to see that she's alive. We want something from her. And that is not something that is inconceivable, and that's not something that's so outlandish.
but it's your mother.
Of course,
It's your mother, and
It's-
you're this weekend. You're sweating it. The investigators are getting nowhere.
There's
They're
no
getting
doubt.
nowhere.
But if I see mom on a picture of mom crying with a newspaper that
Not
says,
an option. But it's not an
that's the
option.
point. But you know what? That's why I don't think this is real. That's
And
why
you're-
I
you're willing
don't
to take
think
that chance.
I don't think this note is real. I really do not. It doesn't make sense to me. Every kidnapping always has some proof of life. I mean, they shifted. They cut off J. Paul Getty's grandson's ear and
You
sent
can't
it.
do that anymore. There's cameras everywhere. There's digital footprints. They
But
got
that's not
one.
the point,
They got an
Dave.
email through that can't be traced.
That's not
That's
the
the
point.
best they're going to do. They're not going to
That's-
take a chance on getting
That's
caught.
that's these guys are that sophisticated that they can disarm a system in the house, get in, get out, and move everything going forward. They're going to be smart enough. They could get a picture without even having a problem. Nowadays, you can go through the dark web and move things around and send something to TMZ, and there would be no way to trace it. Okay, so
But
that's
it's not happening.
Yeah.
But you're talking facts, not in evidence now. So here's the deal, Jonesy. This is the deal. They're asking for money. It's just money. It's money. It's just money. Are you going to pay the money on the chance that maybe your mom's alive and maybe these are the people that have it and maybe they will release her?
Well, of course, you want your mommy released. You want her to come home safely, but by the same token, it's hard to put myself in that situation because the emotions must be raging within the family. But there's a part of me that would not want to reward anybody who has, whether it be a real ransom note or not, would not want to reward anybody without assuring the safe return of my mommy.
Right.
Now,
No
my
chance.
speculation. This is all speculation. Everything that's going on in this case seems to be speculation for the most part. But
No, Harvey's giving us real facts here. Like it's, and he's not giving us every single detail, but he's giving us a lot of information here from this ransom note.
But everything around that, with the public, the social media seems. This is my disclaimer. Seems to be speculation. So this is speculation on my part, but you hit upon it. Perhaps the reason that you don't have any further proof or further communications is the more you give the investigators, the more you give the authorities, the better chance that you're not going to get away with this in the end.
Yeah, I mean, this was the plan, or someone who was opportunistic. But it seems like a very significant operation where you're not traced for this to be opportunistic, right? It's not a like the guy who did the fly-by-night request for the money got caught like this, boom, right? So there's a level of sophistication to this ransom note, whether it's legit or illegit. there's a level of sophistication. This person has not been tracked down. This person has not been caught, and others have. So that again tells me more. Let's listen to a little more of Harvey, because I'm telling you, the more I listened to what Harvey Levin said, the more convinced I was that this was legit.
Well, I want to go back to that word consequential, because what you said on your show, something is supposed to change if they don't pay the money by the first deadline, quote, but the second deadline is much more important. And now you're saying much more consequential. Look, I'm not going to ask you to disclose anything you can't disclose, but it sounds dire. It sounds like the urgency to find her. Time is certainly of the essence. Number one, for medication, her age, her health, and it sounds like there's a greater threat behind this.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're reading it right. I will say the letter begins, and again, we're not sure that this is really written by the person who has Nancy. But I will say the letter begins by saying she is safe but scared. And they go on to say she knows exactly what the demand is. And so they are, through us telling the family, and obviously the sheriff's department gave the family the letter we received, exactly what they're demanding, and they're saying that Nancy is aware of it. They are also saying, Sean, and I find this, pretty interesting when you look at what happened today. They're saying that this will be their only communication, and they are done communicating, negotiating. Here's the deal, and that's it. And as the clock ticks, I think that's one of the reasons the FBI and other authorities have, gotten desperate here, because as far as we can tell, it's impossible to trace the origin of this email. And I will say that there are real reasons based on what's written there that I believe that this person is in the radius of the Tucson area. And there's something very specific in there, and I'm sure the FBI keyed in on this a while ago. And it makes me think that whoever did this, if whoever wrote this letter is in that Tucson area. And I think it's one of the reasons, too, that they sent the same email to one of the local stations in Tucson. This person is familiar with the Tucson television market. And based on the way it's written, I believe that this is somebody in that wide Tucson area, not in Tucson. Could be in New Mexico. They could be in New Mexico now, but they are definitely familiar with Tucson. The end where they.
So that's interesting to me as well. That he's not revealing what it is, but it seems like it is a local person, and it's someone who knows whatever it is. I can't imagine what it is, but he seems very convinced. And later on in the interview, he talks more about that, like that they're in this. There's someone from in this area, which to me would make sense. You need to be from that area to be familiar, because it's, if you look at it from a wide look, right? And I think Al sort of mentioned this, like it's Savannah Guthrie's mother. Like who even knows where she lives or how she lives, or that she lives by herself, and the level of security. The other part of this is that it does seem to me that it's someone that's that has to be somewhat familiar with her situation.
Absolutely.
Right?
There's no doubt.
I mean, I've heard other people say this, and this is what I was thinking as well from the beginning, because I think it's a movie that I saw once, but like a nurse's aide or a housekeeper or someone maybe is dating someone who's not a great person, and says, you'll never guess whose house I was at today. Oh, really?
Laurence Olivier's.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cheeseburger with coffee.
Sunny Tips.
Who's he again? Is he the guy with the camera commercial? Does the Kodak?
No. Sonny Tufts is an actor from the 50s.
No, I'm talking about Laurence Olivier. Is he the guy that does the Kodak commercial?
He's good. He's good.
Yeah.
But Sonny Tufts is better.
Al doesn't get it. Al's not getting it.
I got it.
No, Joe Namath. Joe Namath came into the office today.
And before we came on, you and I had discussed the movie Ransom, which was Mel
Right.
Gibson's film, and I have the
This-
quote here. Okay, so in that movie, Mel Gibson turns the tables on the kidnappers by refusing to pay, and he says this: "You'll never see $1 of this money because no ransom will ever be paid for my son. Not one dime, not one penny. Instead, I'm offering this money as a reward on your head." He redefines the $2 million ransom as a $2 million bounty, calling the kidnapper a $2 million lottery ticket. He promises to run full-page ads in newspapers, ensuring the money tracks the kidnappers down for all time. And then the ultimatum he gives them: one chance to return his son alive, to withdraw the bounty. And if he doesn't, he warns them, "God be with you, because no one else on this earth will be."
Wow.
So
I love that movie.
That's
I
a
love
great
that movie.
movie. A
Great
great
movie. So that's the opposite of this, right?
Yeah.
And that's not going to happen because you can't put a bounty on someone's head, right? You can do it in the movies, but you can't do it in real life. But on the same token, there's no real reward here for information on this person, which is surprising me as well. Like, you can't put a bounty on someone's head, but you could put $1 million up for someone to turn this person in.
Well, they did put 50,000, I believe.
Okay,
Right?
like I said, put some money in it. Like $50,000 is nothing. That's nothing. That's just FBI chump change. I'm saying
you're
put
right.
$1 million. Put $1 million up. Dirtbags hang out with dirtbags. If somebody knows something, they might be able to give that piece of information that'll lead them to this person. Right?
That is absolutely correct. That's almost what Mel Gibson was doing. He's putting the $2 million on their head. Okay, he's calling it a bounty, but you could call it a reward. There's a $2 million reward for information to get these scumbags, and that go right with there. And it's not a bounty at that point; it's a reward.
Yeah.
And then you just put on dead or alive, and go from there.
So the flip side of that is that you would be inviting hundreds of thousands, if not more, false leads at that point. If you're offering a substantial amount of money, and there may be a reason why they're holding back on that. Certainly they have some resources.
Yeah, but I think, like, I don't believe that this person did this alone. I don't think this is one person doing the whole thing. I think someone else knows the person connected to this, or is directly involved, or was even there that night, right? And for dirtbags to turn on dirtbags, it does,
Yeah, but if you're involved,
go ahead.
If you're involved, you can't really, turn that person in, because you won't be collecting that reward. You'll be going down with them.
What, you don't think that happens? That the individual maybe kills the guy that was the mastermind to it, and then tries to turn him in, saying, "I had nothing to do with it." I mean, I'm sure that's happened. Yeah. It happens in the movies all the time.
They're in such a bad spot. They are in such a rough spot, and this weekend it's just every minute that goes by without any information. Let's get to more of Harvey Levin. We're almost done with Harvey.
Both old friends of mine both have the same theory, that it's a local person. When you first read this, and as you examine this, and as you talk to law enforcement, you have great instincts, Harvey. I mean, you've been a success for decades on television. You kind of have a nose for what's true and not true. Does your gut tell you this is very real to you, that this is a ransom, a kidnapping ransom?
Well, look, I don't know for sure. I felt that when I called the sheriff and told them about these two items, that would be a telltale thing. That if those items or something in the description match something that we don't know, that the public didn't know, then it gives credence to it. And again, I got a call from the FBI a few hours later, and they were very interested. They were on the phone with my IT team. As far as I know, and my IT team has been hard at work on this, and I know the feds have. I don't think they're going to be able to figure out where this email originated from. I know the Bitcoin address is real. So what I will say is this, that this is not a letter that was thrown together in a couple of minutes. It is a very specific, well-organized, layered letter that really lays things out this is not AI. You know, if an English teacher were to look at the structure and the grammar and everything else, I think they would have no notes. So this is somebody, it's not a crazy person who's writing this. I mean, they may be crazy, but they have the capacity to make demands, say what they want, say what they don't want, and it's very, very structured.
Okay.
And,
So that's for me, everything that I learned there. No more communications, the details, the interest of the FBI, all of that makes me feel that the author of this letter, that this is a real ransom situation. It doesn't answer the question of the status of her. It doesn't answer the question on whether or not, even if they received the money, if they would release her. But to me, this is more of a human question that I'm asking right now, which is, will Savannah, and it's mostly Savannah, right? Her sister doesn't really have the money. Her brother, military hero, I'm sure he doesn't have the money either. I feel like there's a chance that they're going to pay.
Here's an angle to that, and it's not a pretty one. But in Savannah's situation, with her fame, her success, if for whatever reason they decide not to pay, and they may be right not to pay, they know more than we, presumably. That the backlash from the public on a celebrity, a star, if that should go awry. Now, of course, all you're thinking about is get mommy home. You saw that video. It's a killer. I've got a heart of stone when it comes to like crime stories, but that was a killer. I shouldn't say that word, right? But anyway, that's another angle to it. It's like, and I'm sure that's not even in her head, but that's a fact, Jack.
But I don't think public relations. I mean, look,
that's, I know, but it's there.
I will tell you that I still don't believe the letter. I do not think I don't think it is authentic. I really do not, because having studied this kind of stuff and and read through it doesn't make sense the way it's structured. It doesn't make sense the way it's going forward. And no one doesn't give, there's no kidnapper that I know of that doesn't demonstrate some proof of life unless there is no life. So then at that point, they don't have the ability to do it. But to say, we spoke to your mom and we told her,
well, you're talking about two different things. You're talking about two different things now. Don't conflate two things, right? Is the author of this letter the person who's in the house or connected to the people in the house taking Nancy Guthrie, or is it someone completely disconnected from this? Don't conflate whether or not she's alive or not alive with whether or not this is legit. That doesn't talk about the legitimacy of the letter. The legitimacy of the letter is the person who wrote the letter connected to the abduction of Nancy Guthrie? Not whether, like I said, I don't know if she's alive or not alive, if they'll return her or won't return her. I don't know the answers to any of that. The question is that person connected?
That's an impossible question to answer. It's an impossible question to answer because, I mean, conceivably someone could say, yeah, we put the watch on the table next to the, whatever, but, and we knocked out a searchlight. But I don't know the answer to that. And I don't know what the situation is. I can tell you this, when Harvey brought up the fact that the intricacy with regards to trying to find where that email came from is almost impossible. Okay. So if that person is that sophisticated, why can't they get a photograph to me? So that's why I have a problem with this. It doesn't make sense to me. Okay. And I mean, it's coming back.
It doesn't make sense, but the question is, and here's why I ask, is the person connected or not connected? Like the person who is not connected, you're not going to even pay attention to, you're not going to give them a dime. But if you believe this person is connected to the abduction of your mother and they're not communicating at all, the only communication was there will be no more communications, just give us the money. Are you giving the money? Are you going to pay the money? Because if you don't pay the money and you think they're connected, if you think there's a 0.1% chance or a 1% chance or a 2% chance or a 5% chance that they're connected, like, are you going to pay the money? And to me, it comes down to the specifics of the letter. If there's something in there that's like, oh my goodness, how did they know this if they weren't connected to the people who were in that house? So now they are connected to the people in my house. So the only chance I have to get my mother back is to pay the money. I know it may not work, but it's the only chance I have. Are you paying the money?
And my answer is, without any sort of proof of life, I'm not paying the money to that letter.
Okay.
That's you know what? As
Okay.
cold as that sounds, it just, there is nothing there that lends me to believe that she is alive.
Yeah.
And that is the problem I have with regards to this. There is nothing based on the fact. Now, if this was a 7-year-old child, okay, I have a different opinion on that, and I may have reacted differently, and I may be paying the money in that instance. But when I've got a sickly woman, an octogenarian, who they have blood, trail out of the household, she doesn't have her medication, okay, all of those things add up to she's not alive, okay? There is no.
So you're not holding on to hope that she's alive.
You know what? I mean, I got to give.
So is it that, or is it the legitimacy of the note that would drive your decision?
Combination of the two, because I think the legitimacy of the note would be, here's proof of life. Okay. That would make the note a hell of a lot more, in my opinion, legit. The fact that it's not, the fact that they have those asides in there does not work for me. Okay. And I don't know why the FBI, I mean, I'll tell you this, it's very perplexing that they're that, concentrated on it. And I hope I'm wrong. Okay. But there is just something not right about that letter. And there's something not right with the way that this so-called, abductor is working this. It doesn't fit the pattern. I mean, the other night when I was on with you, Vinny, Monday night, I mentioned that there are no statistics for the kidnapping of octogenarians in the country. The FBI has their statistics show zero. It is a very, very, very odd scenario. Most of the time, if with senior citizens at that age, there is a fraud attempt on them to, try to get them to hand over money, tell them that their grandson is in jail. You need to put bail up, or he's going to be, put in with killers and things like that. That is very prevalent. But kidnapping of an octogenarian does not even exist as a statistic amongst the FBI. So it's a very weird scenario.
All right, I've posted on, if you're on YouTube, if you go to my channel, into the community, I've posted a poll just asking folks, would you pay the money for your mother without proof of life? So take a look at that, get your vote, and by the end here, we'll take a look at what the
if I had the money and there was a chance that it was.
No, we're presuming you have the money, whatever money it is you have. It's not like, oh my goodness, I don't have the money. What am I going to do? It's a realistic amount of money for your circumstance.
So if there's a chance that my mommy, as I called her, would be returned safely, yeah.
I think most people are gonna think that. Some may not. Al is very analytical, and I understand it. Like he's
Al's mother's watching right now. Well, how do you think she feels, Al?
No, but here's what he's just done.
She does what?
No, he saved his mother, because no one's ever going to kidnap her because they're not getting a dime.
They're not getting a dime. That's exactly right.
Smarter than all of us, right?
I have demonstrated pure point that no one is going to take my mom out of this situation because of the fact. And let me tell you something. You wouldn't want to kidnap my mother, okay? She'll be like, you're leaving me in this room? It's disgusting. She would have been like attacking these guys. These guys would be paying me a ransom to give her back.
Oh, okay. So let's do this. We've got a lot of comments. So
take my mom.
So I'd like to put some of those up and respond to them. Let me just reset the thing here. And I'm going way back. We got Johnny Knoxville, Vinny Wunsch, Jonesy. What is your go-to Super Bowl snack and beverage? Happy Friday. I'll be making a Tom Collins after work today. So, Johnny Knoxville, thank you, helping us take a little bit of just a quick tangent away from the story. My beverage is, you know what I would do as a treat? I would make a low carb chocolate shake. I get the low carb ice cream with some almond milk, which is lower in carbohydrates, and that would be my go-to. Snack wise, it's something involving mozzarella. Go ahead, Al.
Okay, so I'm going to go with a nice hazy IPA where I add a little orange juice to it so I get some vitamin C. And then on the snacks, I'm going to go with the old standby, pigs in a blanket.
Pigs in a blanket. Jonesy.
Bourbon with a beer chaser. If Gina even lets me watch the game, we might be watching the Puppy Bowl. But as far as snacks are concerned, sadly, like I never do that. I just put the game on. It's just the two of us, and it's not a party. And maybe this year I should. I love chicken wings, man, but they sure are messy. But it's only me and the lady at home, so why not?
All right. Lisa Mitchell, GD. I've become a super fan of Albert 2. Love you, Three Amigos. If they pay the ransom, can't they trace the funds? That's the good. Al believes that you can trace it. I'm not sure on that.
It's very traceable.
I think because the one of the things about the crypto world is that's the criminal world is involved in the crypto world. I'm not saying people doing crypto are criminals. What I'm saying is criminals take advantage of the transfer of funds through crypto means to try to not be detected. So my guess is you get the money into the wallet. I don't know where it goes after that. I don't know if it's marked. I don't know how that works. What, Al, you think that they can?
Yeah. In fact, if you take a look, it is very traceable. And that's one of the things that also gives me sort of a cause for pause with regards to this.
Yeah. I'm also wondering why Bitcoin just took a big dip recently, why they're going with Bit. But interesting. All right, this is Caius Posthumus Sterinus 1024. On Jesse Waters, a guy said this could be a cartel. I think that's in play. I think it's in play. And Al, you said that already.
Yes, I did. And that was something that, because of the proximity and things along those lines, it certainly is something that would come up as a potential, in my opinion, probably more so than anything else.
All right, Johnny Knoxville's back. Team Wunsch, type 1 team, Vinny type 2. I don't know what that means, but I'm type 1. I didn't follow that 100%, but I am type 1.
I'm rooting for the Seattle Seahawks because of Mr. Darnold, who got screwed over by my Jets. So, and he's a great guy, very, very nice guy. So if I'm type 1, that's Seattle. That's me.
Big thanks to Savage Squeaky ASMR with the super sticker. I'm just scrolling through some just to get through all the supers and make sure we pay proper respects to all those folks that are watching. The chat is on fire. We've got more than 7,000 watching live right now. So the chat room is very busy. So I'm scrolling as fast as I can. Just going to try to get to the current comments, and then we'll start rolling with this.
If I could just say one thing, listen, I hope to God she's still alive. I really do. I met Savannah back in, I think, 2004 when I was working with Vinny at Court TV. We have some things that are in common. Georgetown, where I went to graduate school, she went there to law school. Her father died at 16. My father died when I was 16. So we had some things that we were able to talk back and forth about when she was a field reporter there. And just a wonderful, wonderful individual. And I don't know her as well, obviously, as Vinny, but I had met her. And so I do feel that pain. And I do hope to God that the mother is okay. It's just that it's not, it doesn't compute for me. And having studied a lot of situations with regards to kidnappings, it doesn't gel. And that's where I've got a problem.
In that regard, may I say that my experience working with Savannah Guthrie at Court TV, she was one of the kindest, one of the nicest talents that I had ever had the opportunity to work with. Her first day there, she came into my office. Nobody ever did this. Introduced herself, said that she loved radio. I worked in radio. I put people on radio. I made radio programs with the anchors and reporters. And some of the reporters did not want to be a part of it because they wanted FaceTime. They wanted to be on TV. They were TV stars. But she walked in and she said, I love radio. I'll do anything with you guys. So I just wanted to introduce myself. Savannah won a songwriting contest, I believe, before she came to work for us. That was one of her passions. Savannah, when she was on the road with the Court TV crews, would invite the entire crew up to her room after the workday was done, and she would carry an acoustic guitar with her, and she would jam with them.
Wow.
Just to humanize her a little bit. She was one of the kindest. When she got hired by the Today Show, I tried to reach out, but at that point, she probably got 10 million, emails at NBC saying that it was an inspiration to see somebody who was so kind, so cool, so wonderful to make it to the height of this particular business.
Of our business, yeah.
She is a living doll, and to watch that video of her is gut-wrenching.
It absolutely is.
Amen.
So Elaine, 57, did they not see the blood when they went to check on her? I believe they did. The original reporting is that they waited an hour to call 911 because they were looking for her, but then police said it was very obvious a crime had taken. No, they got there 11:56. By 12:03, they had called 911. So you get to the house, you go there. Oh my God, what's going on here? Of course, you're going to do a walk around the house. You're going to go around the yard. You're going to be screaming, "Mom, mom, 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 mom." And then they called 911 almost immediately, Elaine. All right, let's see what else we have here. Okay. Seth Hollinshead says, nah, the cartel is a multi-billion-dollar market rather than $1 million market. They wouldn't bother doing something like this, I think is what Seth is saying. And yeah, that's true. That's true. It could be someone in the lower echelon of the cartel.
I mean, look, those kidnappings are happening in Mexico. So it's not like that this is something so far-fetched. They may not be cartel, Medellin or anything along those lines, but there is certainly groups of just scumbags that are kidnapping tourists and then ransoming them, and for money. So I mean, it is happening.
Yeah.
Well, before this situation, I was thinking, when's the last time there's been kidnappings in the United States? Am I wrong? It just seemed like it was a thing that went on back prior to the 70s.
Well, you do see that there's a lot of child abductions. I mean,
yeah, but that's not for money. That's for something else.
Right. But I mean, but that's considered a kidnapping.
Yeah, technically, I think what Jonesy's talking about though, are like
ransom,
Patty Hearst and things like that.
History is
not yet, Al. Not yet, Al.
Okay.
We got to get to some.
The Symbionese Liberation Army, Patty Hearst.
Take two.
Yeah. Okay, here's a strong opinion from Einland. The note is not real. Authorities are working another angle. In the meantime, the $50,000 is a recovery reward. Wow. So maybe that's possible too. They may have information they're just not letting out. The sheriff has not officially said. He said that she's out there. We believe she's out there. He hasn't said they believe she's alive or dead.
I got to tell you, he's probably one of the most big. He's like a cheerleader, for God's sakes. I mean, he really is like saying, "And we believe she's out there and she's okay," and blah 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 blah. I mean, he's very very upbeat with regards to his.
He comes across very cool to me, I thought.
Yeah. So Auntie Ree 94, it's Auntie Ree exit 136. Where's my song? Auntie Ree, one of the great winners in the Christmas show. Some of the prizes went out. Some more will be going out this weekend. I can just tell you that it's been a very busy time for me. A very, very busy time for me. I've got a lot of things that are taking place. So you just have to be patient, Auntie Ree, but it's going to be amazing, your song.
Yes, that's just it. So if you just want it, just a quick tune, you get that. But we try to make sure, and Vinny is so keen on making sure that everything is phenomenal. So just be patient. It'll be worth the wait.
So more
That's the
importantly, exit
our pictures too, by the way.
Yep.
exit 136 is the Carteret Rawway area, just shy
Yeah.
of 138,
Yeah.
which is Elizabeth.
Yeah. Isn't it Cranford?
Cranford, yes. Yes, good
Okay,
point.
here's a good one. It's from Lunami. Lunami. First of all, amazing suit. Lunami. Look at that. If you look at that suit, that's a suit. All right. Have they been able to confirm the family's timeline on when Nancy arrived and left the family's home via camera, cell phones, or anything else? I want the press to ask that. Well, here's what we got. Let me put the timeline up right now. I'm going to add that. I'll make it larger. One moment. All right. Take a look at the timeline. So this is what we have. 5:32, she travels to the family home. They say travels to the family home because she took an Uber. So she Ubered to her daughter Annie's home, which is about 10 minutes away. They've spoken to and interviewed the Uber driver, okay? Because obviously that's someone you got to talk to. 9:48 dropped off, which is the time that the family said at 9:48 the garage door opens. So that's their confirmation, or they're lining up of the story of Tommaso, who's this. Excuse me. Tommaso, who is the son-in-law. 9:48 is the time they said, they dropped her off. That coincides with the opening of the garage door, which is, all right, she's going in her house and the garage door closes at 9:50. So it seems that is in fact corroborated. Have they seized? Do you believe, Al, that they have seized the cell phones of family members?
Absolutely. That I believe they didn't have to seize them. I believe they were voluntarily turned over.
Okay, fantastic. That's great. So they can download that data, text messages, geofencing, placement, all that. So that's good news. And great question, Lunami. Thank you so much. All right, I'll keep that. Here's the one thing on the timeline that really strikes me. 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera disconnects.
Right.
Whatever that means. That means it disconnects from its spot on the doorbell, right? Like we see the empty spot there. Like you can remove them. They're mobile. Sometimes you need something to do it, but you might be able to do it forcefully. Usually you need a little special screwdriver or something to get it out. 2:12 a.m., a person is detected on camera by the software, but there's no video that is saved because Nancy did not have a subscription to keep the videos. So I don't know why everyone who gets these systems doesn't pay the extra $3 or $4 a month to retain the videos. Just because if someone's creeping around your house, you'll want to be able to identify them later rather than just get a notification that someone's creeping around your house. So, and it's more common than I thought. I thought everybody kept those videos, but they don't. And that has caused a little bit of a problem here because a person is detected. So maybe they take the camera off, right? And they're walking around with the camera and accidentally appear on the camera. The camera's not been found, by the way. So they got rid of it. Then at 2:28 a.m., the pacemaker app disconnects, which is similar to my glucometer, which also speaks to my phone, my Apple products. So if it's a certain distance away from it, it will disconnect. And that's what happened here. So to me, I look at this as the 41 minutes that the suspects are at the house, in the house, around the house, abducting Nancy. What are they doing for 41 minutes? That's a long time.
It is a long time.
What's going on?
There's no answer to this question, but one of the things to me about the blood is, given that she was, she's 84 and that she can't walk more than, what did they say, like 50 yards on her own.
50 yards.
Like why the blood? Why would you have to draw blood to seize an 84-year-old person? I mean, we don't have none of us can answer that, but
and enough of that is going to be dripping onto the floor. I mean,
right.
So it's a sizable. It's either coming from her nose or from her mouth, probably.
Yeah.
So maybe they were, you know, roughing her up and things along those lines because she wasn't being compliant or anything. Who knows?
Yeah, that's my guess, because I mean she's a smart woman. You know, it's not like you're going in and taking someone who doesn't know what's going on and they're just following you wherever you go. She's going to be very, and that's the difficulty, this very, very aware of what is happening. Now, the question on the medication that I have that has not been clarified, because I listened closely to what Savannah said, and I interpreted it as it may be pain medication, that she is in constant pain, and without the medication, it's going to be like torture for her. So does that part jive with the note, right? Because that's the one little piece of the note that I'm like, oh, maybe not. If what Savannah is saying is that she's in constant pain, and in the note they say she's okay, but they didn't take the medication with them, that could be a problem. Maybe they're not aware of the level of pain that she has, and in constant need of the pain medication. So that was the one part where I took a step back and said, maybe it's not in sync with the facts here.
Maybe Al's right.
No, I didn't say that.
No, all right. Darn it.
Johnny Knoxville, you lose all leverage if you pay without proof of life. Yes, but on the flip side of that, Johnny Knoxville, is you lose any chance of getting your mom back if these are in fact the abductors, and if in fact she's alive, if you don't pay the money, right? So it's a horrible choice. There's no good choice here. There's no good answer here. This is incredibly tragic. But when I posed the question, will they pay the money? I was looking at it not as analytically as Al, but that may be the way that they're looking at it. I'm looking at it like, are they going to just pay the money just to see maybe and pray for a miracle, and literally throw the money and pray for a miracle before that deadline on Monday? I don't know. Let me see. We got some more comments here. Normie Von Ormy, you say it's your birthday. On my birthday too. Happy birthday, Normie Von Ormy.
Happy birthday,
Normie Von Ormy, and thank you so much.
Birthday wishes.
Birthday wishes. Happy birthday, Normie Von Ormy.
And we all know that it was Vinny's birthday this week on the 4th.
Yes, indeed.
I brought that up on the 3rd on TV.
You did. You were the first. You were the first.
Second.
You always remember your first.
Thank
Normie
you.
Von Ormy, you say it's my birthday. It's my birthday too. She had to correct her grammar. We got what you meant though, Normie.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. Normie Von Ormy, Normie. Norm.
That's actually a line from the I Love Lucy episode when they
What?
were in Italy, and it was her birthday, and they forgot, and then the kids goes, "She's on my birthday too," and so then they were given presents by the Ricardos, and so each kid kept saying it was their birthday also. So they were giving out all those things. She's on my birthday too.
Alexandra Vickery, 2101. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Appreciated. Thank you for your support.
Well, you know what, Vin? Can I just mention this quickly, because we're going to throw out some happy birthday wishes here. That and this is something that I know is near and dear to you. Happy birthday, Ronald Reagan, on this day in 1911, and happy birthday, Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth
on this day in 1895.
Two American legends.
Two American legends. That's cool.
Tons more cowbell. I think it's not her blood, and FBI are hunting someone. Okay, let's talk about this. This is a great point. Thank you, Tons more cowbell. Do you think there's a misinformation campaign that's taking place right now?
There's always a misinformation campaign going on that is always going to, they're going to give you something but not give you everything. That's just the way the FBI works, and that's how those things go through. So there's always going to be a deliberate withholding of information that they have and that they're working on. And that either, can work a couple ways. One, it puts the perpetrators in a position where they don't know where things are going. Okay. And it also gives them the opportunity for the people of the public to maybe feed in some more information that they found out or things along those lines. So there's always going to be a withholding of information. No one is going to give you everything in a one fell swoop. Just doesn't work that way. Not in law enforcement.
All right, Hebs 86. Thank you so much. She's probably on blood thinners and anti-arrhythmic as well with that pacemaker. Love you, Vinny. Yeah. I'm not familiar with all the meds that you need with a pacemaker, but that seems to make sense, right? Pacemaker, you'll likely have some level of blood thinners. But at what point does not taking those become fatal, or are they more precautionary, more prophylactic, right? You take them to prevent any problems, but will a problem necessarily arise, within days, or is it more like you're playing the odds? Like you take this because it'll lessen the chance that happens.
It's hard to tell on that. I mean, with the blood thinners, it could be that she has a clotting problem or something along those lines, or something to do with a plaque issue or something that could make her more susceptible now to a heart situation. You don't know. But, obviously there is an issue with regards to the pacemaker that's sparking the heart and making things go. So if the blood is having trouble traveling, through the arteries and through the veins, then that could be an issue that could come back to obviously haunt her.
Well, originally they said that the prescription that she didn't have, that she could pass within 24 hours. I don't know if that was misinformation intentionally to try to scare anybody who may have her, that you don't want to make this a higher crime, or what the story was about that. I also don't know what the hell kind of medication would be necessary to keep you alive every 24 hours.
But then Savannah's statement,
right, was pain.
Yeah.
Law enforcement still says no one ruled out. So C/B family. What does C/B mean? I'm not sure.
Could be.
So could be. Okay. Yeah, they're not ruled out. Last known people with her, last known people, not necessarily last people, but last known people with her. So they have to be, in the sphere, but they're in a very peculiar situation because they're victims as well. So I think law enforcement recognizes that, but it makes the investigation and the sharing of information much more nuanced.
Well, the level of speculation that I've seen because of the nature of this case and the popularity of Savannah is outrageous. It's like through the roof. I've read everything from has something to do with the Clintons to it has something to do with a story she did on the Epstein files.
Right.
Right. It's
which, by the way, if I can answer, I had gotten a inquiry then, and I'm going to say it now so this way here everybody knows for their information. Neither Vinny, me, or Jonesy are in the Epstein files. So
I haven't searched myself yet.
I did.
Al did, just to make sure.
Just to make sure. And you're not in it, Jonesy.
I like to search myself in all kinds of things, because you never know where you're going to pop up. Maybe you got some press that you don't realize. Maybe somebody was listening to my show or something like that, and it was in one of the files.
And that looks good if you're, a subject in a crime or a suspect in a crime, that all the different things you're running your name through to see if you're up on there. So good move.
All right, Lady Webb 9. Thank you so much. Was it a virtual church stream she missed or IRL? IRL, is that, I don't know what that means.
Internal revenue.
I believe she was going in person. She does get around. There was a car.
That's what IRL means.
Yeah. She has a car. If she's just a few miles away, maybe she still drives. I don't know if she drives. She took an Uber to her daughter's, which is 10 minutes away.
God bless.
Maybe she does drive during the day, but it was supposed to be in person.
Can you imagine being that Uber driver? you're minding your own business. You're doing like, your job, your like, your thing. And then like the FBI and like the local police and every authority like wants to talk to you. Like you're like the last person one of the last people to see her.
Yeah,
It's got to be crazy.
yeah.
Because at first, I'm sure when they questioned him, there was some curiosity as to whether or not he had anything to do with it.
Exactly. All right. 1 second. I just there's another comment here that might be very, very relevant that I have to do something with here really quickly. And we're running out of time very quickly. Al, I have to postpone this day in history today. I'm sorry.
Can I
Is
just
that
do
okay?
can I do a couple of quick notes on this?
Do a couple of quick notes. We won't do all the fanfare just while I gather this element.
Okay, so on this day in 1921, Charlie Chaplin releases his first full-length film, The Kid, starring a 6-year-old Jackie Coogan. You've got King George VI dies. Elizabeth, his daughter, becomes the Queen of England, and she served for 70 years. 1971, Alan Shepard hits a golf ball in the moon. Okay. And in 1998, Austrian superstar Falco is killed in a motor vehicle accident in the Dominican Republic. So that is on that. Rev War history quickly. This is a day, very, very important day in Rev War history. 1778, we sign the treaty with France, Treaty of Alliance. Without that, we never would have been able to win the American Revolution. So it's a huge day for us. And on true crime, John Wayne Gacy's trial starts in 1980 for the red rum of 33 young men in Cook County, Illinois.
All right. Make it so 1111. Harvey just put out a map circling where he thinks Nancy is and explains why. Can you show it? Thank you. I'm type 1 too. All right. Type 1. Woo! Thank you so much. Make it so. Let's take a look at the map. So Harvey, and again, he saw the letter. He saw the ransom note. And based on the ransom note, this is where he believes is the circle of potential locations of where Nancy would be or where the author of the ransom note was. It goes Nevada. Wait, what is that above Arizona?
I don't know. I can't see that.
It looks like he put a VT there. Vermont's not there. Oh, no, it's a UT. I'm sorry, Utah.
Okay.
I thought he's rewriting the map. So Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, Texas, Mexico, California, or Baja. Right? So you look at all that. My guess is it has something to do with the address or the way the email was received. Maybe you're able to limit it to a certain area here. But that's very interesting because it does include Mexico, as we were talking about. Could be out of the country, but also includes obviously Tucson. You can see where Tucson is in the red. So there's something in the letter that seems obvious to Harvey that this is the area where it's got to be, which is very, very interesting. Does give investigators somewhat of a lead, right? A little bit of a narrowing, but I don't know how much more that's going to give them.
But quite frankly, I mean, that kind of makes sense. I mean, did you really think she was going to be in Chicago? I mean, so to say it's in this area here, and that's basically
no, but it's a circle. It's a circle. And in the middle of the circle is Nancy, or is where So I don't know. There's something in the letter that must say I'm within so and so miles. Maybe that's what it is. I'm within 932 miles of you, or
Look,
I don't know what the letter says about how she gets returned either. That has not been shared either. It may be there, it just hasn't been shared.
And does she get returned if you're so careful about not being caught? Of course, everybody tries to be. So you're going to hand over the biggest possible piece of evidence.
Yeah, right. I don't know. Did they put something over her head? I don't know. Cast posthumous Turinus 1024. Could this be the work of a foreign government? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so at all.
All right. Auntie Re 94. Happy birthday to me. I'm getting dirty looks at my doctor in Englewood, so got to sign off. Have a great weekend, guys. Happy birthday, Vinny.
Englewood, New Jersey.
I think maybe that's you. You were giving medical advice before.
Thank you. Was
So
I?
I
do have a Juris Doctor. So.
Auntie Ree may be your neighbor. HE double hockey sticks cat in Virginia. No amount of money or need of proof of life would stop me from immediately sending money for my 84-year-old mother if she were missing. She gave me life. How could I live with myself if I didn't? Right. That's the other part of it. And that's what they were. That's the psychological warfare that was at play in that note saying your mom knows. Your mom knows. Right. So could you live with yourself knowing that there was even this little of a chance? Al, you want to respond to that?
Yeah. You know what? First of all, my mother's always said, don't be stupid. Don't spend your money stupidly. Okay. I'm not going to spend my money stupidly. I want proof of life. And you know what? And my mother would be saying that to me. She would be going, I'm not here. What are you worried about? It's, don't spend the money. I'm not alive. It doesn't make sense unless there's proof of life. Proof of life would be the first thing I need before you're going to be getting that. And we talked about the tracing of the Bitcoin. Let's look at it from the standpoint of, so I send the Bitcoin to this wallet. The wallet has to confirm that it received the money. Okay, so there's a trace right there on that. Okay,
I don't know what you can do. I don't know if you can ditch your wallet. I don't know how that works.
No, you can't. That's the whole thing with the wallets. That's because like you end up, you see those guys that like they screwed up, they forgot their passcode or whatever. You're screwed for life. Okay,
right.
So,
but can you take it from the wallet and then put it somewhere else? I don't know. This is I need an expert for that one. By the way, Al, the folks agree with you right now.
Thank you.
It's about 75-25 roughly that people would not pay the money without proof of life for their mother.
Thank you, folks. Thank you.
What about her pacemaker? I read they can send signals to the doctor to check the heartbeat, not in real time, but do they have that capability?
Well, they disconnected it to her phone. Did they
right.
not?
That's a Bluetooth. I have the same technology that on my glucometer. It speaks to my phone, so I know what's going on. I can get a readout. And then from the phone is where I can share it with the doctor and everybody else. The doctor doesn't get it straight from my device on my body. So I think my guess is I don't think there's that kind of connectivity. I think the connection could be with your doctor is you connect the doctor to your app. The app connects by Bluetooth, so you have to be in proximity to your pacemaker. That's my belief.
If that was the situation, it would have been done already. So.
Right. But that's my belief how it works based upon my diabetic situation. All right. Melon Madness 3847, not in person since COVID. Who made the call? Oh, so she's saying that the church is not, but the people from the church are the ones who said she's not here.
Yeah.
Are they saying that she didn't log on? That doesn't make sense to me. Like, I think she was going to church, but maybe not. That's interesting. If she wasn't going in person, I haven't heard that. I presumed that it's in person because people from the church called concerned that she wasn't at the service.
Yeah, because that would be the one that would be the thing that would concern me. The fact that she didn't log on, I don't know if that would necessarily send up a red flag that there's a problem.
Yeah,
right. Like the Wi-Fi could be down.
Right. Exactly.
The church was actually open, I think through the night, just the other day for all the parishioners and people, neighbors and family and friends to come and say a prayer for her.
Yeah.
I would wager money that it was in person.
Okay, Melon Madness saying the map is based on the driver's time to bring her back, which would be 10 hours.
Okay.
So that could be part of the note. Could be it's going to take us 10 hours to bring her back.
Well, why would you bring her back? Why wouldn't you just say,
Right. You would just leave her
Say,
somewhere and get out
you
of
know,
Dodge.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. All right, I'll give you a ride. Come on, get in.
And here's
She's
the
at-
other part of it.
Make a left over here at Cheshire, and then
And-
move. No. Make the right. Doesn't work that way, I don't think.
And do they have a duckmobile? Because part of what he's circling here is the Pacific Ocean here. So, but it might be part of the of what's in the note.
Well,
maybe the dingo took your baby.
It could be, on a boat somewhere. That's actually probably a
We're
smart.
seeing a lot of online church. I mean, it might be online, and maybe it's online church where everybody sees everybody's faces. Like, I don't know. That's strange. It's the first time I'm hearing that it's online church.
Yeah, that
Is
is
possible, very possible. Bitcoin wallet addresses can be traced to real world ID depending on the BTC exchange used. Gotcha. But can you use one of these BTC exchanges that is like out of the jurisdiction of the United States and is a little bit, more on the down on the DL? You know what I mean? Like, I've got to think, if you're this nefarious, that you're not going to go to one of the more commercial exchanges to try to cash out this Bitcoin or whatever. And I'm still wondering why they chose Bit, if they specifically said Bit or if they just said crypto, and there's presuming Bitcoin out of all of this. I don't know. Okay, someone else is saying she regularly drove her car.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, folks. We are just about out of time. What a great chat today. Sorry we couldn't get to all of them. By the way, thank you to the Mod Squad. Super busy in the chat today. They are absolutely amazing, and we cannot do the show without paying homage to, of course, the folks who do so much during the live streams and outside of live streams. Our world famous Mod Squad.
The Mod Squad, keeping order in the chat. The Mod Squad, spotting trolls who attack. Oh, Gen X is ready and on the scene. Frankie Biggs making sure they're keeping it clean. Jennifer Soubey telling haters don't be so mean. And Ashley Bouchard on top of our Facebook screen. We are the Mod Squad, cleaning up the mess. The Mod Squad, simply the best. The Mod Squad.
All right, thank you to the Mod Squad. Thank you to everyone. Thanks for all the super chats and the great conversation. It is appreciated. It's going to be another busy night for me on Court TV. 8 o'clock, we have a special, obviously, on this. 9 o'clock, Vinny Politan Investigates. We'll take a deep dive here. Don't forget about the True Crime merch also, folks. The Vinny Originale True Crime merch shop. You can get the allegedly stuff, everything else that we have. Al, where can people find you?
Monday nights, as you know, from 8 to 9, I'm on Closing Arguments with Vinny Politan. February 18th, I will be in Ridgewood doing an interview of Andrew Yang with a new book that he has out. The guy who ran for president and ran for the mayor of New York. And basically wandering aimlessly through life. So at this point, as they say, hasta la vista, Tangenistas. And in honor of the late, great Falco, Alice Kilar, Herr Kommissar.
There we go. Beautiful. Jonesy, where can folks find the radio legend?
Well, you can find me up and down the dial, living on the AM and the FM, full schedule at glennjones.net. Glenn with one N, like mommy intended it to be.
Fantastic. And as I said, you can find me on Court TV every single night, Monday through Friday, 2 hours of live true crime. Tonight, 2 more hours going into this investigation with all the latest developments. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Please subscribe. Thanks to the folks over on the Court TV YouTube channel who were simulcasting today. Great job there. Let's see. Did they make it onto Jonesy's page? I'm checking here. Let me see
It's-
if we're on.
So I see it on my page, but I don't know that anybody else sees it.
Let me see. Let me check. I gotta check here. Glenn Jones.
Because it gets 0 likes. I mean, like if I post a picture of my cat, I get like 150. So I'm thinking like, no, you
Yeah,
know,
it may not. I don't see it.
I got to figure out how to get it to the people. I'll share it. I'll try sharing it after the
Okay.
show myself.
Fantastic. All right, folks. Thanks so much for watching. Say good night, Jonesy.
Good night, Jonesy.
Good night, everyone. Good night. Thank you for all your support. We are the Tangent True Crime Podcast. We'll see all of you in court. Somebody say tangent. Tangent. Somebody say podcast. Podcast. Tangent, tangent. Podcast, podcast. This is the Tangent Podcast. Good night, everyone. Good night. Thank you for all your support. We are the Tangent True Crime Podcast. We'll see y'all